Listen with the whole of your attention, for what I am about to tell you is not common knowledge, nor is it the chatter of men who trade in shallow words. It is a doctrine for those who are ready, those who desire mastery over themselves, those who hunger to live from the highest source of power, available to man the consciousness of Christ, the mind aligned with truth, the soul anchored in purpose. Few will understand it, fewer still will live it, but those who do will rise to a life of calm power, of unshakable peace, of unstoppable success. We are born into a world of reaction. Men are tossed about by emotion as ships by waves. One moment they are proud, the next they are jealous. One moment they are bold, the next they are paralyzed by fear. One insult reduces them to anger, one loss to despair, one temptation to ruin. They call this life, but it is slavery. For a man ruled by his emotions is a puppet. His strings are pulled by circumstance, his destiny determined by external winds. But the man who lives from the source, who has unlocked the consciousness of Christ within himself, is unmoved by the storms of emotion. He is calm in the face of insult, unbroken in the face of loss, disciplined in the face of desire. He does not live as a beggar of approval, but as a sovereign of truth. He does not seek control over others, but over himself. He has aligned his thought with law, his discipline with purpose, his heart with detachment, and because of this, he cannot be shaken. He has found what Scripture calls the peace that passeth understanding, and from this peace flows all power. There are 7 rules to unlock this consciousness, 7 principles that, if mastered, will align you with the source of all true power, wealth, and destiny. They are not new, they are eternal, but they must be lived, not merely known. Each is a law, and to violate it is to forfeit mastery. To obey it is to rise to sovereignty. Rule 1, definiteness of purpose. Christ himself declared, "I must be about my Father's business." That is definiteness of purpose. Without a definite aim, you drift like a leaf in the wind, blown by every opinion, distracted by every temptation. The man of purpose cannot be bought, cannot be delayed, cannot be broken, because his eye is fixed on the mission. Wealth bows to him, power serves him, because he has direction. Decide what you live for. Decide what you will build, what you will endure for, what you will die for, if need be. Until you decide, you will remain scattered. Once you decide, the world itself will bend to your purpose. Rule 2, self-discipline. Purpose without discipline is a dream soon lost. Discipline is the bridge between intention and reality. Discipline is the law that says, "I will act not according to impulse, but according to decision." It is fasting when appetite demands indulgence. It is rising when comfort demands sleep. It is working when laziness whispers rest. The man without discipline is weak even when he intends greatness. The man of discipline is strong even when he feels weak. Discipline is mastery over the body, mastery over habit, mastery over time. The disciplined man commands himself, and because of this, all else obeys him. Rule 3, mastery over emotion. If you allow emotions to govern your actions, you forfeit your power. But if you command your thoughts, you command your future. This is the law. Anger blinds judgment. Fear paralyzes initiative. Desire corrupts ambition. Envy poisons cooperation. The Christ-conscious man does not destroy emotion. He governs it. He transforms anger into energy, fear into vigilance, desire into ambition, envy into admiration. He responds rather than reacts. He is calm in crisis, deliberate in danger, steady in success. Emotional mastery is not coldness. It is sovereignty. It is the refusal to be ruled by the storm. Rule 4, autosuggestion. As a man thinketh in his heart, so is he. The subconscious accepts every repeated thought as command. If you say to yourself, "I am weak, I am afraid, I am unlucky," your life will obey. If you declare daily, "I am calm, I am disciplined, I am the master of my mind, I live from the source," your life will conform. Words repeated become beliefs. Beliefs become reflexes. Reflexes become destiny. Therefore, plant into your mind only the seeds you want to harvest. Guard your speech, for every word is a command to the soul. Rule 5, accurate thinking. Truth is the foundation of all mastery. Illusion is the ruin of all men. Most mistake opinion for fact, feeling for evidence, desire for reality. They are deceived because they do not think accurately. Accurate thinking demands detachment, for emotion bends perception. The man who thinks accurately asks, what is fact? What is assumption? What is evidence? What is noise? He sees reality as it is, not as he wishes it to be. And because he sees clearly, he decides correctly. The Christ-conscious man values truth above comfort, accuracy above popularity, reality above illusion. Rule 6, personal initiative. Do not wait to be told. Do not wait for approval. Do not wait for perfect conditions. Initiative is proof of mastery. The undisciplined man waits and wonders. The disciplined man moves and creates. The Christ-conscious man acts from principle, not impulse. He acts because purpose demands it, not because mood permits it. He does not seek luck. He creates fortune through initiative. The universe rewards the man who moves, for movement is life, and initiative is mastery in action. Rule 7, persistence. This is the crown of all other rules. Without persistence, purpose fades, discipline weakens, detachment falters, initiative dies. Persistence is the refusal to surrender. It is continuing when weary, enduring when mocked, advancing when alone. It is rising after failure, learning from defeat, pressing on until victory yields. Persistence is the proof of belief, the guarantee of destiny, the fire that tempers the soul. All men fall. Only the persistent rise again and again until nothing can stop them. These are the 7 rules: purpose, discipline, emotion, autosuggestion, accuracy, initiative, persistence. They are one chain, and the chain is unbreakable only when complete. Break one link, and mastery is lost. Keep them all, and nothing can resist you. To unlock the consciousness of Christ is to align yourself with these laws until they are no longer effort but nature, no longer practice but instinct, no longer discipline but identity. Then you will live from the source, calm in spirit, clear in thought, commanding in action. You will cease to be a slave of circumstance and become a master of destiny. You will cease to beg from the world and begin to command it. So I leave you with this charge. Govern yourself. Discipline your habits, master your emotions, plant only thoughts that strengthen, pursue truth without compromise, act without delay, persist without surrender. Do this and you will rise into the consciousness of Christ, the source of all sovereignty, the key to peace, the secret of wealth, the law of destiny. For the man who masters himself lives from the source, and the man who lives from the source cannot be stopped. Rule 1. Definiteness of purpose. All great achievement begins with this, definiteness of purpose. Without it, discipline has no target, persistence has no fuel, thought has no clarity, and life itself has no anchor. The man without purpose is a ship without a rudder, and the winds of circumstance will scatter him to ruin. But the man with purpose is steady in storm, unyielding in temptation, relentless in pursuit, for he knows why he lives. Christ himself declared, I must be about my Father's business. That is definiteness of purpose. He did not drift, he did not delay, he did not scatter his power across trifles. He lived for one mission, one calling, one supreme aim. And because he was definite, his every step was deliberate, his every word was weighty, his every act was purposeful. Such must your life become if you would unlock the consciousness of Christ and live from the source. The undisciplined man says, I want success. That is not purpose, that is wish. The undisciplined man says, I want happiness. That is not purpose, that is desire. The undisciplined man says, I want wealth. That is not purpose, that is appetite. Purpose is more than a want. It is a decision, a law, a command written into the soul that governs all lesser desires. Purpose says, I will build this, I will become this, I will conquer this, I will endure this. I will give myself entirely to this, no matter the cost. When purpose is definite, sacrifice becomes natural. Comfort loses its chains. Distraction loses its power. Approval loses its grip. For the man of purpose is already owned not by the world, but by his mission. And when a man is owned by his mission, nothing else can master him. Think of the farmer who sows seed. If he sows everywhere without plan, his harvest is scattered, wasted, devoured by birds, and choked by weeds. But if he sows deliberately, row by row, field by field, with clarity of aim, then his harvest is certain, abundant, inevitable. So too with your life. Without purpose, your energy is scattered, wasted, devoured. With purpose, your energy is concentrated, directed, multiplied. Definiteness of purpose simplifies everything. The man without it is confused, for every choice seems equal. The man with it is clear, for every choice is judged by one question. Does this serve my purpose or not? If yes, he pursues it. If no, he rejects it. No hesitation, no waste, no regret. Purpose cuts through the fog of indecision, as a sword cuts through tangled vines. And purpose does more, it attracts power. When you are definite, men sense it. They are drawn to your clarity, for clarity is rare in a world of confusion. Opportunities present themselves, resources align, doors open not by magic, but by the natural law that focus gathers force. The scattered man repels wealth, the definite man attracts it. The scattered man chases success, the definite man compels it. But you must be bold in your purpose. Half decisions are the ruin of men. To say, I will try, is weakness. To say, I will consider, is drift. To say, I will attempt, is surrender in disguise. The language of purpose is, I will. Say it, mean it, live it. Do not waver, do not compromise, do not dilute. Once chosen, let your purpose rule as king over every thought, every emotion, every action. And do not be deceived by the smallness of beginnings. Every great tree begins as a seed, every empire as an idea, every destiny as a decision. Do not despise the day of small things. Once your purpose is definite, it does not matter if you begin with nothing. For the man of purpose with nothing is greater than the man of drift with everything. The one will rise, the other will fall. Purpose demands persistence, and persistence is born of purpose. The quitter's purpose was weak, the endurer's purpose is strong. When your purpose burns hot enough, you will crawl when you cannot walk, walk when you cannot run, run when you cannot fly. Purpose is the fuel of endurance. Therefore, ask yourself now, what is my definite purpose? Not tomorrow, not someday, but now. Write it, speak it, declare it, live it, until you decide you will wander. Once you decide, the road will open. Not easily, not without trial, but certainly. For purpose is the magnet that draws destiny, the compass that guides through storm, the law that aligns the universe itself to your advance. This is the first rule. Without it, the others collapse. With it, the others are empowered. Purpose is the fire. Discipline is the fuel. Detachment is the shield. Accurate thinking is the guide. Initiative is the stride. Persistence is the crown. But the fire begins here, with definiteness of purpose. Decide, and you begin to live from the source. Rule 2, self-discipline. If definiteness of purpose is the fire, then self-discipline is the iron vessel that contains it, shapes it, and directs its heat to forge achievement. Without discipline, purpose is wasted, scattered, consumed by indulgence and distraction. Purpose sets the aim, but discipline pulls the bowstring, holds the line, releases the arrow with precision. Discipline is the master key that unlocks every other principle, for no law of success can be obeyed without it. Understand this truth. The undisciplined man is the enemy of his own destiny. He may have talent, but talent without discipline becomes vanity. He may have ambition, but ambition without discipline becomes restlessness. He may have intelligence, but intelligence without discipline becomes self-deception. He may even have opportunity, but opportunity without discipline becomes ruin. The history of failure is littered with men of great ability undone by weak discipline. But the history of triumph is built by ordinary men who, through discipline, became extraordinary. Discipline is self-government. It is mastery over impulse, mastery over habit, mastery over time, mastery over appetite, mastery over thought. To govern others without first governing yourself is hypocrisy. To demand respect from others without first commanding yourself is arrogance. True mastery begins within. The undisciplined man says, I will do what I feel. But feeling is a traitor. One day it is strong, the next it is weak. One day it calls you forward, the next it drags you backward. To be ruled by feeling is to live as a reed in the wind, bending with every breeze. The disciplined man says, I will do what I decided, regardless of what I feel. That is strength. That is sovereignty. That is self-discipline. Consider the athlete who desires victory. He must train when others sleep, rise when others rest, endure when others quit. His body cries for comfort, his mind tempts him with excuses, but he obeys neither. He obeys only his decision. He is not free to indulge, but because of that, he is free to triumph. The undisciplined man believes freedom is indulgence, but indulgence is slavery. The disciplined man knows freedom is obedience to principle, and that is true liberty. Discipline is not punishment. It is structure. It is order. It is alignment with law. The planets revolve with discipline. The seasons change with discipline. The tides rise and fall with discipline. Nature itself is ordered, governed, precise. Disorder is death. So too in man. Without discipline, there is decay. With discipline, there is growth. Self-discipline demands sacrifice, but sacrifice is the price of greatness. To sacrifice ease for effort, pleasure for purpose, distraction for focus is not loss, it is exchange. You trade the lesser for the greater, the temporary for the eternal, the comfort of now for the triumph of later. The undisciplined man clings to what is easy and gains nothing. The disciplined man gives up what is easy and gains everything. To live without discipline is to live at the mercy of appetite. Appetite for food, for comfort, for pleasure, for recognition, for distraction, all demand to be served. But appetite is never satisfied. It grows with feeding. The undisciplined man is devoured by his own appetites. The disciplined man denies them, controls them, directs them. He eats to live, he does not live to eat. He rests to recover, he does not rest to avoid. He seeks pleasure in its place, not as his master. Appetite obeys him because he does not obey it. And discipline must be consistent. One act of discipline does not create mastery any more than one stroke of the chisel creates the statue. Mastery is born of repetition, of habit forged by practice. To discipline yourself today and indulge tomorrow is to undo your own work. Discipline must become nature, instinct, identity. You must become the man who acts with discipline, not the man who occasionally disciplines himself. Discipline governs thought as much as action. The undisciplined mind wanders, scatters, distracts itself with trivialities. It drifts from worry to fantasy, from fear to desire, from noise to noise. The disciplined mind directs itself. It focuses on what matters, excludes what does not, returns again and again to its purpose. He who cannot discipline his thought cannot discipline his life. Discipline is not merely denial, it is redirection. It is not the suppression of energy, but the channeling of it. The river that flows everywhere becomes swamp. The river that is disciplined by banks becomes power, becomes current, becomes force. So too with the energies of man. Without discipline, they are wasted. With discipline, they carve valleys, turn mills, generate power, shape destinies. And know this, discipline multiplies itself. The man who disciplines his body finds it easier to discipline his mind. The man who disciplines his mind finds it easier to discipline his habits. The man who disciplines his habits finds it easier to discipline his destiny. Every act of discipline strengthens the will. Every surrender weakens it. Each decision builds momentum, for good or for ruin. But let this truth be clear. Discipline is not harshness, not cruelty toward oneself. It is care. It is the care of the gardener pruning the tree, of the craftsman shaping the wood, of the general training the soldier. The gardener cuts not to harm, but to strengthen. The craftsman carves not to destroy, but to create. The general drills not to punish, but to prepare. Discipline is care for the future self, a care too rare in a world enslaved by the present. The man of self-discipline commands respect, even from his enemies, for men recognize in him what they lack in themselves. His presence convicts the lazy, inspires the weary, challenges the weak. He is not easily persuaded, not easily moved, not easily broken. He is firm, steady, reliable, because he has made himself so. Discipline is dignity. Therefore, if you would live from the source, build discipline in every sphere. Rise when you say you will rise. Work when you say you will work. Restrain when you say you will restrain. Persist when you say you will persist. Train your word to be law to yourself. When you command yourself and obey, you become dangerous, for no enemy can master the man who has mastered himself. This is the second rule, self-discipline. Without it, purpose fails. With it, purpose triumphs. For discipline is the law of cause and effect within yourself. If you sow obedience to principle, you will reap mastery and destiny. Govern yourself, and all else will follow. Rule 3, mastery over emotion. If purpose is the fire and discipline is the vessel, then mastery over emotion is the steady hand that holds the vessel and directs the fire. Without it, purpose burns uncontrolled, and discipline collapses under sudden storms. Emotion is a gift when governed, but a tyrant when free. The man who cannot master his emotions will be mastered by them, and he who is mastered by emotion cannot be master of his destiny. Understand this with clarity. Emotions are powerful servants, but disastrous rulers. Anger sharpens action, but ungoverned, it blinds judgment. Desire fuels ambition, but ungoverned, it enslaves the will. Fear protects from danger, but ungoverned, it paralyzes advancement. Love inspires sacrifice, but ungoverned, it degenerates into obsession. Every emotion has its place, but none may hold the throne. The throne belongs to reason, and reason must be guarded by discipline, directed by purpose. The undisciplined man reacts. The masterful man responds. Reaction is automatic, blind, dictated by external stimulus. Response is deliberate, considered, dictated by internal command. The difference between reaction and response is the difference between slavery and freedom. The man of reaction is a puppet, jerked by circumstance, controlled by insult, moved by flattery, undone by fear. The man of response is sovereign. The world may act upon him, but he alone decides his course. Christ himself mastered emotion. He was moved with compassion, but not enslaved by it. He was angered at corruption, but not consumed by rage. He was sorrowful, yet not hopeless, resolute, yet not merciless. He felt fully, but never surrendered sovereignty to feeling. That is mastery. Not the cold absence of feeling, but the royal control of it. To be numb is weakness disguised as detachment. To be inflamed is slavery disguised as passion. To be master is strength. To feel deeply, but command fully. Consider the battlefield general. If he yields to panic, his army collapses. If he yields to rage, his strategy is reckless. If he yields to despair, his men lose heart. But if he feels all and governs all, if he keeps his mind clear and his judgment steady, he commands victory. You are that general, and your mind is the battlefield. Emotions surge like armies. Some fight for you, some fight against you. You must not flee, you must not surrender, you must not let them govern. You must govern them or they will govern you. Mastery of emotion requires awareness. You must know what stirs within you the instant it stirs. To be ignorant of your own feeling is to be ambushed by it. The man who says, "I did not know what I was doing, I was carried away," is a man who does not command himself. The master says, "I felt the storm rise, I saw it clearly, I named it, I contained it, I directed it." Awareness is the sentry at the gate, discipline is the guard, purpose is the law, and mastery requires detachment. The man entangled in his own emotions cannot see them clearly. He becomes the anger, the fear, the desire, the sorrow. But the master steps back, as though standing on a high hill watching the armies clash below. He does not deny the battle. He observes it, names it, understands it, directs it. That step back, that moment of detachment is power. It transforms reaction into response, blindness into sight, slavery into sovereignty. Ask yourself, how many decisions have you regretted because they were made in anger? How many opportunities have you lost because you were paralyzed by fear? How many relationships have you poisoned because you were consumed by jealousy? How many hours have you wasted because you surrendered to discouragement? In each, the fault was not the world, not fate, not chance. The fault was mastery lost, throne abandoned, emotion enthroned. But see also the victories of mastery. The man who holds his tongue in anger prevents wars. The man who acts despite fear achieves greatness. The man who resists envy preserves peace. The man who persists through discouragement conquers. Each victory over emotion is a stone laid in the fortress of character. Each surrender to emotion is a brick removed. Over time, you either build your fortress or dismantle it by how you govern your inner world. And here is a law. Emotions obey thought. Thought is the root, emotion is the branch. Change your thought and the emotion follows. Fear arises from thought of failure. Replace it with thought of possibility, and courage grows. Anger arises from thought of injustice. Replace it with thought of strategy, and resolve grows. Desire arises from thought of lack. Replace it with thought of abundance, and contentment grows. You cannot always command the first surge of emotion, but you can always command the thought that feeds it. Therefore, train your thought. Build the habit of pausing before reacting, of naming what you feel, of asking, does this serve my purpose? If yes, direct it. If no, dismiss it. Emotion is energy. All energy can be directed. The flame that burns the house can also forge the sword. The flood that drowns the field can also turn the mill. The storm that destroys the ship can also power the turbine. Emotion is not enemy. It is raw power. Master it, and it will serve you. Neglect it, and it will destroy you. The man who masters emotion becomes unshakable. Insult does not move him, for his dignity is not given by others. Flattery does not blind him, for his worth is not dictated by applause. Fear does not paralyze him, for his security is not in circumstance. Desire does not enslave him, for his satisfaction is not in possession. He is calm in storm, steady in temptation, firm in trial, relentless in pursuit. Such a man is dangerous, for nothing controls him. This is the third rule: mastery over emotion. Without it, discipline shatters under pressure. With it, discipline holds, purpose endures, destiny advances. If you allow emotion to govern, you forfeit your power. If you command emotion, you command your future. Accurate thinking is the compass of mastery. Without it, purpose loses direction, discipline misapplies its effort, and emotion deceives with illusions. To think inaccurately is to build upon sand. To think accurately is to build upon rock. Success is built not merely by action, but by right action, and right action is born of accurate thought. Accurate thinking means the refusal to accept assumptions as truth, the refusal to mistake opinion for fact, the refusal to confuse appearance with reality. It means testing, examining, questioning, discerning. It is the mind's sword, cutting through error, delusion, and falsehood until only truth remains. Without accurate thinking, a man may work hard, discipline himself, master his emotions, and still fail because his foundation was error. With accurate thinking, every act becomes sharp, every decision sound, every step firm. Understand this: the majority of men do not think. They feel, they believe, they assume, they repeat. Their minds are ruled by prejudice, suggestion, and custom. They accept what is heard from others, what is popular, what is easy. They call this thinking, but it is imitation. Accurate thinking demands more. It demands proof, logic, evidence. It demands the courage to question even one's own convictions, to test every thought in the fire of reason. There are two kinds of facts: important facts and unimportant facts. The inaccurate thinker drowns in the unimportant, mistaking trivia for truth, noise for knowledge. He fills his mind with clutter, opinions, gossip, hearsay, until he cannot distinguish signal from noise. The accurate thinker separates, discards the unimportant, and seizes only the essential. He knows that clarity is power, and confusion is weakness. And there are two sources of ideas: external and internal. External ideas come from books, teachers, society, media. Internal ideas come from reflection, intuition, observation, experience. The inaccurate thinker swallows external ideas whole, untested, unexamined. The accurate thinker weighs them, balances them, accepts only what aligns with fact and principle. He cross-examines every idea, asking, who is the source? What is the evidence? Does this stand under scrutiny? Does this serve my purpose? Only then does he accept. Accurate thinking requires emotional detachment, for emotion clouds judgment. Anger exaggerates wrongs, fear magnifies dangers, desire blinds to risks, pride resists correction. The inaccurate thinker clings to beliefs that comfort him, avoids truths that challenge him, defends errors that flatter him. The accurate thinker does not ask, "Do I like this truth?" He asks, "Is this truth?" Whether it comforts or disturbs is irrelevant. He is loyal not to comfort, but to reality. Consider the investor who ignores accurate thinking. He listens to rumors, follows crowds, reacts to fear, indulges in greed. His fortune rises and falls on tides of emotion. He is not an investor, he is a gambler. But the accurate thinker examines fundamentals, weighs risks, calculates with reason. He invests, not gambles. He advances, not drifts. His results are not chance, but cause and effect. And consider the leader. If he lacks accurate thinking, he is swayed by flattery, blinded by prejudice, trapped by error. He chooses poorly, and his people suffer. But if he thinks accurately, he sees beyond appearances, judges men by character, discerns opportunity where others see none, avoids danger where others rush in. His people prosper, his power endures. Accurate thinking is rare because it requires effort. It is easier to believe than to prove, easier to assume than to verify, easier to follow than to question. But ease is the path of mediocrity. The path of greatness is demanding. It requires you to sift every idea, weigh every claim, discern every fact, cut away every falsehood. Few choose it, but those who do command life. This is the fourth rule, accurate thinking. Without it, you are a slave to error. With it, you are a master of reality. The law is clear. If your thoughts are false, your results will be failure. If your thoughts are true, your results will be success. For the mind builds the world in which you live. Think inaccurately, and you live in illusion. Think accurately, and you live in power. Rule 5. Autosuggestion. Autosuggestion is the mechanism by which thought becomes reality. It is the process by which the conscious mind impresses its desires upon the subconscious, and the subconscious in turn directs behavior, attitude, and destiny. Every man is ruled in the end by the dominating thoughts he allows to dwell in his mind. Thus, autosuggestion is not merely a principle of psychology, it is the very steering wheel of destiny. Understand this law. The subconscious mind does not question. It does not argue. It does not reason. It does not discriminate. It accepts without resistance the ideas that are repeatedly impressed upon it. If you impress it with fear, it guides you toward failure. If you impress it with courage, it guides you toward victory. If you impress it with doubt, it produces hesitation. If you impress it with faith, it produces initiative. Whatever you repeatedly tell yourself, you become. And here lies both the danger and the opportunity. For most men, autosuggestion is unconscious. They allow fear, worry, complaint, gossip, and defeatist thoughts to seep daily into their subconscious. They repeat to themselves without awareness, "I cannot. It is too hard. It is not for me. I will fail." And their subconscious, obedient servant that it is, shapes their reality accordingly. Their lives become self-fulfilling prophecies of defeat. But the master uses autosuggestion consciously. He selects his thoughts as a king selects his counselors. Only the wise, the strong, the faithful are admitted. He crafts affirmations of purpose, discipline, courage, wealth, and repeats them daily with faith and emotion until the subconscious accepts them as commands. He saturates his mind with images of the destiny he desires until the subconscious cannot distinguish between dream and reality. Then the subconscious mobilizes every faculty, every habit, every instinct to bring it into being. Autosuggestion is the bridge between desire and achievement. Desire alone is not enough. It must be transferred into belief. Belief alone is not enough. It must be transferred into action. Autosuggestion is the method of transfer. It transforms desire into belief, belief into habit, habit into destiny. He who masters autosuggestion masters the process by which thought becomes flesh. Christ himself understood this law when he declared, "According to your faith, be it unto you." Faith is simply thought impressed with conviction upon the subconscious, repeated until accepted, acted upon until realized. Autosuggestion is the technique of planting faith deliberately, rather than leaving it to accident. Consider the athlete who uses autosuggestion. He tells himself, I am strong, I am fast, I am relentless, I cannot be broken. He visualizes victory, he feels it, he repeats it. In time, his body aligns with his mind, his performance aligns with his belief, and victory follows. Consider the entrepreneur who uses autosuggestion. He tells himself, I am capable, I am resourceful, I attract opportunity, I build wealth. He saturates his mind with images of success, repeats them, believes them, acts upon them. In time, his decisions, his habits, his circumstances align with his conviction, and wealth follows. Autosuggestion is not magic, it is law. The subconscious mind acts upon what is impressed upon it, and the body and environment conform in time. If you impress weakness, weakness results. If you impress strength, strength results. If you impress defeat, defeat results. If you impress victory, victory results. There is no neutrality. You are always using autosuggestion, whether you know it or not. The only question is, are you using it for defeat or for success? Therefore, discipline your self-talk. Guard the gates of your mind. Do not allow words of weakness to escape your lips, for every word repeated is a suggestion to your subconscious. Do not allow images of failure to dominate your imagination, for every image impressed is a command to your subconscious. Instead, craft affirmations aligned with your purpose. Repeat them daily with conviction. Visualize your goal as though already achieved. Saturate your mind until belief becomes unshakable. And remember, autosuggestion requires repetition. One thought impressed once is weak. A thought impressed daily with faith and feeling becomes irresistible. Just as drops of water wear through stone by persistence, repeated suggestions carve themselves into the subconscious. It is not the strength of a single thought that matters, but the consistency of repeated thoughts. This is the fifth rule: autosuggestion. With it, you program your inner world. With it, you shape your destiny. Without it, your mind is programmed by accident, by fear, by the suggestions of others. With it, you become the master of your fate. The law is certain. What you impress upon the subconscious with repetition and faith, you will express in reality with action and result. Rule 6. Self-discipline. Self-discipline is the governor of the mind, the keeper of the will, the guardian of destiny. Without it, every principle collapses into weakness. With it, every principle becomes power. Discipline is the art of commanding oneself, of ruling one's appetites, of controlling one's emotions, of directing one's thoughts, of ordering one's actions. It is the difference between the man who is a master and the man who is a slave. Consider this: the man who cannot control himself cannot control anything. He may command armies, manage wealth, influence nations, but if he is a slave to anger, to fear, to desire, to appetite, to laziness, he will eventually be overthrown, for his greatest enemy lies within. Victory over the self precedes victory over the world. Until you master yourself, you are unfit to master anything else. Discipline is not punishment. It is alignment. It is the act of aligning thought, feeling, and action with purpose. It is the refusal to allow impulse to dictate action. It is the ability to say no to weakness and yes to strength, no to distraction and yes to purpose, no to comfort and yes to growth. Discipline is not the denial of life, but the redirection of life toward greatness. Self-discipline is built through habit. No man is born disciplined. He becomes disciplined through repeated acts of control. Every time you resist temptation, your discipline grows stronger. Every time you yield to weakness, your discipline grows weaker. Discipline is like muscle. It strengthens with use, it atrophies with neglect. The disciplined man builds his strength daily through small victories until he becomes unconquerable. And let us speak plainly. Discipline requires sacrifice. To rise early requires the sacrifice of ease. To study requires the sacrifice of distraction. To save requires the sacrifice of indulgence. To work requires the sacrifice of idleness. Discipline is the willingness to trade immediate comfort for ultimate gain. The undisciplined man chooses ease now and suffers later. The disciplined man chooses effort now and reaps reward later. One pays in advance, the other pays in regret. Discipline is also the power of consistency. Great achievements are not the product of occasional effort, but of daily effort, compounded over time. The disciplined man does not wait for motivation. He acts from principle. He does not wait for inspiration. He acts from duty. He does not wait for the perfect moment. He acts in every moment. By his steady hand, small actions accumulate into great results, and mountains are moved not in a day, but through daily strokes of effort. Emotional discipline is the highest form of self-discipline, for the undisciplined man may control his schedule, his diet, his finances, yet still be undone by anger, fear, jealousy, pride. Emotional discipline is the art of remaining calm when provoked, patient when delayed, courageous when threatened, steadfast when tested. It is the ability to respond with reason rather than react with impulse. The man who governs his emotions is unassailable, for no insult can shake him, no fear can bind him, no desire can rule him. Understand this law. If you do not discipline yourself, life will discipline you. If you do not control your habits, they will control you. If you do not master your emotions, they will master you. If you do not rule your thoughts, they will rule you. Discipline is not optional, it is inevitable. The only question is, will you impose discipline on yourself voluntarily, or will the consequences of weakness impose it upon you forcibly? The disciplined man becomes dangerous, for he cannot be swayed by impulse, cannot be bribed by comfort, cannot be enslaved by weakness. He walks a straight path when others wander. He endures when others quit. He acts when others hesitate. He achieves when others fail. His power does not come from chance, but from choice. He is the architect of his destiny, because he is the master of his self. This is the sixth rule, self-discipline. Without it, all knowledge, all desire, all vision collapses into ruin. With it, even small talents, small resources, small opportunities grow into greatness. The law is certain. Discipline is the bridge between desire and destiny. Cross it, and nothing is beyond reach. Refuse it, and nothing can be attained. Rule 7. Mastery over emotion. Emotion is the storm of the inner world. It is the fire that can warm the heart or burn the house to ashes. It is the tide that can lift the vessel to its destination or dash it against the rocks. To master emotion is not to kill it, but to direct it. For emotion is energy, and energy is power. Left undisciplined, it destroys. Disciplined, it builds empires. Understand this principle. He who governs emotion governs destiny, for most men are but slaves to their feelings. They rise when flattered, fall when criticized, act in anger, retreat in fear, boast in pride, despair in defeat. Their lives are tossed about by every changing wind, their will as weak as the moods that overtake them. Such men cannot build, for they cannot remain steady. They cannot lead, for they cannot lead themselves. But the man who masters emotion becomes immovable. He does not react, he responds. He does not flare at insult, nor tremble at danger, nor crumble at loss. He stands calm in the face of provocation, serene in the face of uncertainty, steady in the face of storm. His composure is his fortress, his calmness his weapon, his detachment his strength. While others panic, he plans. While others rage, he reasons. While others despair, he decides. And so he prevails, because he is master where others are slaves. Detachment is not coldness. It is clarity. It is not indifference. It is strength. It is the ability to see clearly, act wisely, endure patiently, and persist unshaken. The detached man does not suppress feeling. He harnesses it. He channels anger into resolve, fear into caution, love into service, ambition into effort. He is not moved by emotion, but moves with emotion. As a rider directs the horse is powerful, but without a rider, it runs wild. The rider without the horse cannot move, but together, horse and rider conquer the distance. So too with emotion and reason. Reason must lead, emotion must serve. There is a higher truth here. Emotion can be transmuted. Just as steam, when contained, powers engines, just as electricity, when directed, lights cities, so too emotion, when transmuted, fuels genius. Sexual energy, transmuted, becomes creativity, Fear, transmuted, becomes alertness. Anger, transmuted, becomes determination. Sorrow, transmuted, becomes depth of character. Every emotion contains power. The master extracts the power, discards the chaos, and directs the energy toward achievement. Christ himself mastered emotion. When insulted, he remained silent. When betrayed, he remained calm. When crucified, he forgave. This was not weakness, it was supreme strength. It was detachment, clarity, mastery. It was dominion over the inner world. And because he was master of himself, no power on earth could break him. This is the consciousness of Christ, to remain sovereign within, regardless of what occurs without. Hear me well. The world belongs not to the strongest, nor to the fastest, nor to the loudest, but to the calmest. For the calm man sees clearly, thinks accurately, acts decisively. He does not waste energy in rage, nor squander time in panic, nor bleed strength in despair. He saves his power, focuses his mind, directs his energy, and in the end, he achieves what others cannot. This is the seventh rule, mastery over emotion. Without it, life is chaos, destiny is accident, and power is lost. With it, life is order, destiny is designed, and power is certain. Master your emotions, and you master yourself. Master yourself, and you master your fate. And so these 7 rules stand together as one. Purpose, detachment, accurate thinking, initiative, autosuggestion, discipline, and emotional mastery. Together, they form a ladder to the higher plane of consciousness, where wealth, power, and peace are not accidents, but certainties. They are the keys to living from the source, to awakening the consciousness of Christ, to becoming a master of the inner world and, by extension, of the outer world. The final truth is this: all mastery begins within. Wealth begins within. Power begins within. Peace begins within. Destiny begins within. Conquer the self, and the world is conquered. Fail within, and the world will crush you. Now the choice is yours. Now I speak directly to the hidden part of you, the sovereign within, the conqueror asleep beneath layers of fear, doubt, and habit. That part of you is waiting to be summoned, waiting for the command, waiting for the moment when you choose to rise. That moment is now. You have been handed the 7 rules. They are not mere words, they are weapons. They are not mere ideas, they are laws. Break them, and life will break you. Honor them, and life will crown you. The laws are impartial, exact, unbending. They favor no man and deny no man. They bow only to the one who dares to obey them. The first step is to choose. Choose definiteness of purpose and cut away every idle aim. Choose self-discipline and renounce every weakness. Choose mastery over emotion and forsake every reaction. Choose detachment and refuse to be ruled by praise or insult. Choose to live as a master, not a slave. Do not wait. Do not hesitate. Delay is the thief of destiny. Life will test you whether you are ready or not, so it is better to meet the test prepared, armed, disciplined, detached, unshakable. The storms are coming. Some you can see, most you cannot. The undisciplined will drown. The reactive will panic. The needy will fall. But you, if you build mastery now, will walk upon the storm as upon solid ground. Fix this in your mind. The richest wealth, the rarest freedom, the highest power lies not in gold, nor in status, nor in recognition, but in mastery of self. The man who rules himself is richer than kings, freer than conquerors, greater than all who rule without. For kingdoms can fall, fortunes can vanish, titles can be stripped, but the self-mastered man remains sovereign still. And when you live by these rules, when you think with definiteness, act with discipline, move with initiative, stand calm in every storm, then you will find that wealth itself will seek you, opportunities will recognize you, power will obey you, peace will inhabit you, destiny will welcome you. So I leave you with this charge. Rise above the common, detach from the noise, discipline your mind, master your emotions, and live from the source. For the source is within you, the kingdom of mastery, the consciousness of Christ, the key to all wealth and all power. It has been waiting all along inside your own mind. Claim it, live it, rule yourself, and you will rule all else.